I talked about Japan, and I talked about my job. It is time to talk about my experience working in Japan. You asked for a video about my jobs in Japan, so here it is. I lived in Japan for about a year in 2018. I was a student at a language school in Tokyo. That's why I speak Japanese and can talk to my anime husband's merge. Mako-chan. Daisuki. I arrived to the country with a dream to live there. But that was before I got a job there. These are the jobs I was doing in Japan. Transfer of tourists, working in a convenience store, digital marketing job. Let's go through a job after a job. How I got them, what did I, and what do I think about these jobs? And why I prefer not to work in Japan anymore. Travelers transfer. My friend worked at a tourist agency at the time when I arrived in Japan. She was one of the top guides, and some clients required a person to transfer them from the airport to hotel. This is reasonable. The Japanese transfer system is objectively great, but you need time to get used to it. I cannot believe I decided to take the offer, because I'm very bad with directions. And I still get lost a lot when I'm in Tokyo. I get lost a lot whenever I stay. Anyway, the job basically was to meet someone in Narita airport, get them on one of the trains to Tokyo, get them into a taxi, and make sure their hotel check-in was okay. Sometimes it was the other way around. You need to meet someone near the hotel and get them to the airport. The pay was good. I got about $100 for each transfer. The job was easy and fun, but the main issue was it wasn't regular enough for me. 1 month you have a bunch of transfers, and another you have 1 or 0. At some point I stopped doing those, because with my next part-time job I wouldn't have enough time. The convenience store. I watched a lot of videos about students having a part-time job at a konbini, and I was excited to try it. Spoiler, it didn't go very well. Keep watching to know why. I basically never worked in a service field. I was always at the office. And even with a convenience store, I wasn't working in the regular ones like 7-Eleven, Lawson or Family Mart. I was working in a store from a chain called Riven House. These are the stores that are usually placed in fancy office buildings. So most of the visitors were salarymen and women in fancy expensive suits. Okay, with few exceptions. There was an old man, definitely not an office worker, coming every day at the same time, buying a jar of the cheapest alcohol, drinking it on the spot, making puking noises, and then just leaving. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, how I got the job. My Riven House store was a place where you can't just apply and be hired. You need to be recommended by someone. My friend with whom I was sharing a room at the moment used to work there, and she referred me. And I had to go to the interview in a suit, like it was an office job. Usually you don't need a suit if you go to an interview for a job in a convenience store or a cafe. Also, whenever you apply to any job in Japan, you have to make a handwritten resume. It's so annoying. The interview went well, but I couldn't sign a contract on the spot, because this place was one of those who won't accept your signature. They needed a Hanko, a Japanese stamp that you need to order and it will serve you as your signature. I had to make one just for this particular contract, and I haven't used it since that. Let me list the good things I got from this job. The pay on the Riven House was higher than in other convenience store chains. Japanese companies, including convenience stores, pay your community fees, so that also was great. Free food! At the end of the day, we were allowed to take leftovers of bentos and bakery that weren't sold that day. And food quality was actually very good in that place. People working there were fun, mostly students. One of them was a guy trying to make it in a voice acting career. and I could pour on him all my seiyuu otaku knowledge. Working there was really helpful with my Japanese studying. The bad things, well, let me get this straight. I didn't like this kind of job. It's just a me thing. I can't say I was treated poorly or anything. However, I hated everything. Sorting goods on the shelves, mopping the floor, working at a cash register. I kept messing up with the cash register so many times. We didn't have automatic system for a change as other stores had. So I was very stressed every time I had to count coins and give a change to the clients. Listen, I'm an office plankton after all, so it was just hard for me both morally and physically. My work started right after my classes, so I started all the time. I wasn't that bad at the job, but I believe they kept me because it's harder to find someone for the evening hours. Quite quickly, I realized I needed a different job. And I was aiming for office jobs. And one day I saw an interesting position in a place you'd least expect nowadays: Facebook ads. Yeah, a small startup company was advertising a digital marketing position. And I seemed to be a perfect fit. The company's product was an application for reading original stories. Win! I love stories! The stories were illustrated with drawings, usually in anime and manga style. God, is this a dream? And they needed a marketer to ensure the app's growth, and I was so excited! I could work after my language school hours and earn more than in a convenience store. And they offered visa support if you are a good fit. Too good to be true, right? Right? I applied immediately, and they actually answered me back quite quickly. Well, I said they, but the hiring process was handled by the startup's owner himself. The product was so small they didn't have HR. Red flag. That's why the hiring process took quite long. About 3 months! At least the final interview was very cool. CEO wanted to see how I fit into the team, so he took all of us to a nice place to have dinner. Hey, but no suits for the interview this time. Anyway, I got the position and I was finally able to quit the convenience store. Bye bye! I was thinking I finally got what they call a dream job. In the beginning, everything seemed to be fine. We had a very creative office with manga and comic books inside. We had free snacks and my colleagues were cool and creative. They worked in both writing and animation. The company was also holding events with comic book authors, so again, on the surface, everything was so great and exciting. But the job was a bit... Man, it was weird. Firstly, for some reason, the strategy was focused mostly on Twitter ads. To the level, it made sense, because the app was connected to the platform, but still... It was strange to put all the eggs in one bird nest. You know what I mean. At the time I was working in Japan, Twitter still was a bird app. Bruh. Not whatever it is right now. Anyway, the next thing that confused me as a person who worked in online marketing was that the company put so much effort into the promotion of this absolutely new online product into offline. The company was visiting expensive conventions, printed books and made merch, while the app they were promoting was barely functioning. I saw the launch of apps before this job, but I always saw how before doing anything offline, they were maximizing their online presence, which makes sense, that's where people who will use your app are. Also, I ended up being right, I'll tell you a bit later why. And here's the thing. When I was voicing my concerns or ideas, I was getting some vague answers and I was told to keep doing Twitter ads. I spent a couple of months doing that job and it was going nowhere, so I just quit. I can't work at a place if I don't see results or movement towards them. I heard from my other friends who worked for small Japanese startups that they tend to put a lot of marketing efforts offline, even if a product is online. I guess it worked for someone, definitely not for the company I worked for, because after about a month after my leaving, it was closed. I was in touch with one of my colleagues from this place, and they texted me, "Guess what? It's over, the project is closed." I was shocked, but not surprised. I also recently visited a place where the office used to be, and it's not there anymore. I left Japan not long after I quit that job, because even though I love traveling there, I think working there is not for me. Firstly, the interview process in a suit is something I can't handle. I know there are enough jobs that don't require you to wear a suit in the office, but in the interview it is still a must. And that's how I dress, guys! Most companies have an authoritarian management style. Even in a small whip startup where I worked, it was expected of me to only follow the CEO's commands, and I wasn't able to put any of my ideas to work. One of the main reasons why I don't see myself working for a Japanese company is the one I haven't talked about yet. It's visas. I was doing all my jobs with my student visa, with a legal 28 hours for it. The startup suggested visa support if I passed the probation, but well, I quit and the company closed anyway, so it also shows how unpredictable your visa situation could be. And for me, it's very important to feel a power balance between me and my job. There are a lot of videos about work in Japan, including interviews, personal experiences, and I just wanted to add my take and view on that. I didn't want just to focus on working for a Japanese company, because I wanted to show you how you can monetize your different skills. My ability to take a train from the airport or call a cab and give a driver directions wasn't something I thought would bring me money while I was in Japan. I don't see myself working in Japan again, though I gladly work on Japan-related projects like this video or Japanese websites that I sometimes promote. The thing is, even among my Japanese friends, I think the happiest ones are either self-employed or freelancers, the ones who don't have to deal with traditional corporate life. So let's pray together that this YouTube channel will take off someday and I'll be able to make fun videos about Japan and Japanese culture without a need to learn how many steps it takes to reach a chair at an interview. Or where exactly should I stand on the stairs if I'm with my chief? Or how to get into the elevator if I'm with my boss? You get the point. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment. It will help algorithm to pick up my videos. You can also directly support the channel and subscribe to my Patreon. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to learn more about my actual career in SEO and discover pros and cons of the profession, I invite you to watch this video. I'm already working on new videos, so see you in the next one!